Good morning, guys. Thea from That Sweet Tea Life here, and somebody was asking about hinges. I can't solve all of your hinge questions and give you all the answers, but I can take my latest tragedy and make it something that you can learn from. So I'm taking you with me. Let's get started. Woohoo. Okay, so what we have here is, remember that beautiful vanity everybody wanted to, you know, see me work on? Oh, yay, hope you get it. That's going to be gorgeous. Yeah, this is a gorgeous mess. Okay, so down here you can see, we've got, yes, the broken veneer and all of that kind of stuff. And whoever had it before has done an amazing amount of attempted repairs, extra like staining in order to blend in those repairs. Lots of wood filler has been used. And here are the lovely hinges. We've got various types of screws. We have got the notch cut out for the hinge, which is supposed to be there, of course. But you can feel from the screws that so much of this is not original. They've had to do whatever they could to keep this baby going. Here you can see it's just kind of done, right? Okay, so here is one of my solutions for our screwy little hinge problems. I'm gonna close this back up and show you. As you can see, it's rickety and wonky. Whenever it closes, it doesn't want to close because it's rubbing against the bottom too much. Okay, closed. Y'all. This baby's gonna take some work. And we see the hinges over here. So much of it is just not aligned very well, right? All right. So instead of those types of hinges that screw to the inside of the door, you have to have the right size to be inset, to leave enough room for the door to close. We're gonna go with a whole different strategy on the screws. I don't wanna try to reuse those holes because seriously, they're gonna be a mess to work with. Nothing's gonna wanna grab, it's just gonna be difficult. So, hold on 1 second, I'll grab them. Instead, I'm using these guys. And I'll take it out of the package in a second when I have more hands available to show you. But these sit only on the outside. They are a completely external hinge. Now, I don't love the silver, if I'm honest. However, these guys are gonna get painted. So it's really not a big deal. I'm gonna incorporate it into the design. It'll be great. We'll make it great, right? Okay, so how do we do this? I'm gonna show you. Or do my best. Okay. I'm gonna set you in here. And let me open the package. By the way, if you're there, let me know that you can hear me. I didn't go through that whole spill. I kind of just jumped in, but I can't see comments or anything. And I sure don't want to get started on this if nobody can hear what's going on. All right, so here's a closer look at the hinge. And so this is going to go just on the outside of the vanity and then the door, right? And it's also going to cover up a lot of that area that is damaged and help me to camouflage it just a little bit better. This way we're creating all new holes that's going to give us a good bite into the door in the wood instead of attempting to use what is already existing and completely tattered and torn. Look at my computer and see if I can hear anything, because y'all are so quiet today. Let me know if you're tuning in. Okay, I can hear myself. So I'm going to keep going. All right, first thing is removing the whole old hinge. going to open this very carefully. Luckily, these are all Phillips, and so it's not going to be hard. Sometimes whenever you get the flathead screws, it's a pain in the booty. Oh, and there's a flathead right there. Of course, one flathead in the bunch. Always got to be one, right? Let me get that flathead first. Can y'all hear all my crickets? Hey, Kim. I'm excited to see how it turns out too. It's going to take some work. I've got lots of filling to do. I think I'm going to use some Bondo glaze in a lot of areas. But in the end, hopefully it'll be a great opportunity to show some people how to do those things and work through it and be a beautiful piece in the end. All right, so I'm grabbing my flathead bit so I can get that screw out. Pain in the patootie, y'all. Gosh. Do you see that mess? Oh. See, we don't want to attempt to try to use that. That's going to take a lot of cosmetic repair work. We don't want it to be structural because so much of that structural integrity is just gone. Gone, gone, gone. Back to my Phillips. Let's get this guy out. Sorry if my hair blew away. I'll throw it back in a second. Don't know if you can see me, but I'm just taking those last two screws out. That door. Good grief, dude. So this is what we have going on there. So yeah, you don't want to try to attach a whole nother screw to this area. So we're going to be using untouched areas of the door that have not been messed with to try to attach the new screws or the new hinges. All of this is going to be getting some Bondo, mud, whatever I need to do to get it all taken care of. All right. Throwing my hair up to get it out your way. So bear it. If you're there, if you're tuning in, let me know. Say hey, let me know where you're tuning in from. It helps others to see, and that's the thing. A lot of times whenever we're asking where you're tuning in from, yeah, it's exciting. I love to see where everybody's coming from, what's the weather like, and get to know you better. But another thing is every time you comment, or every time you react, or every time you share, it helps others to see it too, so there's more learning happening. All right. Next thing is attempting. Gosh, this thing looks bad. Did I just burp in your ear? I'm sorry. I just burped. So I'm going to set the door in where it's going to be. Make sure it's latching at the top. I don't think you can see that part. So I'm going to bring you up and over. Okay, so I've got it setting in right there. It's sitting nicely. Now down here, I want to make sure that there's plenty of room so that it's not continuously trying to rub up against the bottom, because whether it's this veneer or any other veneer, it's going to want to catch, and we want to prevent that from happening if at all possible. While we're doing that, we also want to make sure that it's still going to slide in up under the vanity nicely right here and not cause any little bumps or hiccups or anything like that. So here's how we do that. I'm going to grab some extra screws that I just have kind of lying around, because everybody, you should if you're not. One of those firms, you're allowed to be a hoarder. Whenever you have extra screws, you keep those back there, because you never know when you're going to be able to use them. And let's see, here we go. Y'all still there? I hope it didn't mess up. And so what I'll do is I'll take this screw, and it's going to become a spacer. Kind of like those that, you know, work on decks and stuff and building decks. I'm going to pull it over. That head is going to catch for me. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Push it in. Press it over so that I know this head is kind of doing its job, hanging on there, and it stays. And then up here, we do the same thing. This helps to keep it centered and make sure, I'm not sure if this one's gonna go, but I know I have enough room right there as long as I keep it pushed downward. And I don't want to damage that veneer any further. Okay. This is gonna prevent it from being too lopsided and hitting any one area too much. I kind of wish I had a little bit more room up there, up here. So I'm going to adjust this some. And maybe even just, yeah, I'm going to stick that there. Will this go? Of course not. Check all of your areas as you're going. Make sure that you've got space all the way around, as well as it's touching where the hinges are going to go. Because if those aren't touching, then that's going to be a problem. Okay, and see, this is what's going to happen. Oops. Y'all, I've got the phone turned upside down today, so I keep on putting my hand right where I'm not supposed to. Okay, so we've got plenty of room over here, not very much room at all up here, right? But look at this. Down here, I can see where the wood is offset a little bit, the door to the vanity. What'll happen is this will pull forward, and let's see if I can make it do it. There we go. As that pulls forward, it creates the space up here. So naturally, as I apply the hinge, I'll be good to go. My big thing is making sure I've got plenty of space there. As long as I don't overdo that, then everything should set nicely. All right, so now what's next? We've got our spaces. We know how we want them to go. Now we really just need to do the thing, right? So I'm gonna bring you guys down a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. And somebody in one of my groups was asking about hinges, and there are so many problems that you could possibly have with them. So I realize this is not going to answer most of your questions about hinges. However, even if we can solve one problem, hey, we're doing what we can, man. All right, so I'm going to take off my Phillips bit, grab my hinges, grab a very small drill bit, as in drill out a little tiny hole bit. And y'all, if you're commenting and stuff, I'm sorry if I'm not responding. Feel free to leave your questions, and I'll get to them as soon as I am able to. All right, so we got to get it straight, right? Right. All right. So I'm going to grab my hinge. The center barrel area is going to lay straight over the center. Okay. You don't want it too far this way, too far that way. The center is fine. You know you're safe if you do that. I will usually use that barrel to kind of cover up if there is a gap from where the wood was chiseled out for the former hinge. So I'll kind of center it right there. Also, I know that with that hinge, the holes were right here and right here. So this tells me that I'm definitely in the clear and there's nothing going on in these areas, so I'll be secure. All right. I'm going to look at the top of the hinge right here compared to the edge of the wood. That's going to tell me if I'm relatively straight. And then I need a third hand, so darn it. I'm going to put my drill bit in here because I can't do it with one hand. I definitely recommend using a drill bit in this type of situation. There's so much damage to this wood already. You don't want to cause any other unnecessary splitting or anything. So even the smallest one will help some. If I'm honest, I'll tell you, I wish this one was a little bit smaller. I mean, a little bit bigger, but I need a whole new set because I am missing and have broken and whatever else most of my drill bits. So we're just gonna put in some pilot holes for our itty bitty screws. Trying to get it in the center. All right. Now, since I don't have a whole third hand available, I'm gonna go ahead and put those screws in. I'm not going to drill them in completely. I'm gonna give a little bit of wiggle room. This way, whenever I add the other two screws, everything will kind of come together a little bit more seamlessly and I'm not going to cause problems. Sometimes if you tighten everything down completely from the get-go, you can cause problems in the end. And we don't want that. So, most of the way in, grab another screw. We are in. Now, we've got to make sure that this guy is pushed over exactly where we want it before we can do these holes, right? Right. So, I'm going to pull them over right there, and right there. See if I can't make sure all of my spacing is right before I do any more screws. Kind of hard to do, but it's possible. Okay? Okay. And then, I just wish I had another hand. So I'm gonna grab, nope, can't do that. These guys, and this guy. Okay, he's good. Pull it over here. He's good. Space. Space. I'll let it set in a little bit so that I know that I've got this gap covered perfectly. Pull this over. Alright, I think we're good. So very gently and carefully, I'm going to do this without causing the door to move because that will cause you problems. Oh, no. Hey baby, just so you know we're live. If you want to, you can hop on the computer and see if there's anybody commenting or questioning. Okay, and now I'm going super, super gentle because I don't want to push the door in and cause the whole thing to shift. So this might take a second. Press over to the left. Do you see the compass? Click on that. There you go. I don't know if any of you caught my assistant last night, Isabel, but she's back. She's over at the computer now, so if y'all want to tell her, hey, you can. All right, so I've got my little pilot holes drilled. Once again, I'm not going to make them completely, make the screws completely tight. Give a little bit of give. See, like this, that wiggles? You want a little bit of give. We'll tighten them down a little bit once everything is in its place. It's kind of like changing a tire. You start tightening up the lug nuts, but you leave them a little bit loose so that everything has room to kind of move and shift. Yes, we are very excited to see how it all turns out. All right, so one down, one to go. Checking my space, everything looks good. Now we can start adding the other hinge. Shifting back over to my drill bit so I can create my pilot holes.
And also said, what makes you decide on an inside hinge or an outside hinge?
Who is this?
Kim.
Hey Kim, so if you come back and watch the video again, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But seriously, the inside of this guy is so badly just battered, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there to bite or to grab into. And to be honest, a lot of times with the antiques, you're not going to find a hinge that is perfect, especially as you get to genuine, over 100 years old antiques. We don't make some of our hinges the same today. So replacing with the exact ones is going to be difficult. I think I could have found ones that would fit okay, but then what you're going to do is you're going to start trying to use and reuse the holes that were pre-existing, which may or may not work. It's not going to be super secure because, well, there's already holes there. So by adding completely different screws, we're able to kind of rework everything all over again and have a really secure situation instead of, not. All right. So once again, I've got my little barrel covering that hole to camouflage that area. I've got my space from here to the edge. So I know it's relatively level. And this isn't a crazy exact science. Like, there's a lot more forgiveness than you may initially think. Hold on, I can't hear really. Let me do this. Okay, what's up?
Donna asked, is your daughter checking the comments for you?
She is. My daughter Isabel is over on the computer checking out the comments.
Jackson said, smart girl.
She is a smart girl, and I always appreciate her help. She's one that loves to find the opportunity to be able to help. She said last night she wants to be on all of the lives. So we'll see how this goes. I told her she could probably do a lot of them. I don't know about all because it just depends on what's going on. All right, once again, I'm adding the screws. We're going to use those pilot holes. I'm not going to tighten down all the way, just probably about 80%. Remember, we're doing the pilot holes because we want to make sure that we are preventing any bit of splitting or damage that can happen. We want these screws to go in super securely. Okay. What else, Val? Anything?
Yes.
What?
She also said, he is super cute, and she also said, I let Roxanne on YouTube.
Aw. Love it. Are you going to tell her thank you for calling you super cute? Alright, so I've already checked my space. Everything looks good. Everything's sitting well. I don't have any concerns about it rubbing or knocking as it closes prayerfully. I've done it right because this is the last bit of screws. Love you, Evan. All right. And so once again, I'm going to be super gentle, so it might take me a minute. I don't want anything to shift too much. Okay. Back to where it was. A little bit more. Go. Ah, center. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure there are 1,000 different ways to do this. And who knows, there's a handful of people out there probably screaming at me because I'm doing it wrong, or there's other ways, or whatever. Don't get caught up in doing the exact right way because there's always going to be so many different ways. Find ways to make your project work. And you're going to learn that some things just don't. And you think you thought it all through and you get it wrong. That's totally okay. All right, now that everything is in, I'm going to go through and begin tightening everything. I'm going to tighten it probably to like 95%. And then go back through and do the rest. Good so far. Now I'm gonna, if you have a drill, set your torque all the way down, or maybe even to 3. What you want to do is make sure that it tightens down as much as it possibly can. This prevents you from stripping the screw or over tightening and causing damage to the wood. And when it makes that horrible sound, you know that you're done. See? There we go. And she's all finished. We'll give her a little test. And she's working perfectly. She's catching the latch. There's plenty of space all the way around. And I know that this is gonna last for many more years to come. All right, guys, that's it. I hope y'all enjoy your day, and I hope this is helpful to someone out there. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the bottom or where the comment section is, wherever it is on your screen, and I'll be happy to get to you later. Bye-bye.